Here in example 3, we're given a table of values for x and y, and so this will be very similar to example 2. We'll just need to pick 2 points from our table to work with in order to find our slope. Now, if possible, I'm going to use points that do not have decimals in them, and so what I notice is that I have 1 point here, -1, 6, and another point at the bottom of this table that do not have decimals in them. There's nothing wrong with working with decimals, it's just sometimes easier to work with whole numbers, and I like to be clever when I do my work. And so what I'll do is I'll label these points x1 and y1, x2 and y2, so that I can use the slope formula in order to find my slope. And so, plugging those 4 numbers into this formula, we see that y2 was labeled as 2, y1 was labeled as 6, x2 was labeled as 7, and x1 was -1. And so what we end up with when we do this calculation in the numerator is -4, and that's going to be divided by +8. And that fraction will reduce to become -1/2, which is my slope. At this point, you are welcome to use the point-slope form of a line and transform that into standard form, or get slope-intercept form by first solving for b and then transform that into standard form. I will go ahead and find b using the slope-intercept form of a line and then transform that into standard form. And so remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Using one of my 4 points here, it does not matter which one, we can plug in for x and y, and remember that m was just calculated by us just a second ago to be -1/2. I'm going to go ahead and just use the bottom point, 7, 2, as my value here. And so what I'm going to get for y is 2, m was -1/2, x is 7 plus b. Doing the calculations here, we're going to get 2 is equal to -7/2 plus b. And if we add 7/2 to both sides and keep things as a fraction, then what we're going to end up with is a value for b that is equal to 9/2. And so my equation in slope-intercept form is going to be y equals m, which is -1/2, x plus b, which we just found to be 9/2. Now, in order to transform this into standard form, we know that there cannot be any fractions. And so if I look at the denominator for these 2 terms, it is a 2 in both cases. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 2 so that I can eliminate those denominators. The 2 will get distributed to everything in this equation, and so 2 times y will be 2y. 2 times -1/2 x is going to give me -1x, or just -x. And then finally, 2 times 9/2, either using your calculator or using your mental math skills there to calculate that, you should get +9. The last thing to do here is to recognize that I don't have all of my variable terms on the left-hand side, and so we want to get that -x to be on the left. And so we're going to do the opposite operation, which will be adding x to both sides, and so that will give us our final result of +x plus 2y is equal to +9. And notice that my value for a, or my coefficient in front of x, is already positive, and so that's how I know I'm finished.